Go to Sri Lanka now, and we have Dr. Mahesha Nirupuli Segara Nagudola, if I could pronounce it properly, Senior Scientific Officer in National Science Foundation, had several awards again and some papers and patents. Let's, without any delay, request Professor Mahesha to speak about preparedness of pandemic in Sri Lanka. Please go ahead, Mahesha.
Good afternoon and good evening to all. Thank you, Chair, for kind introduction. Hope you all can see my slides and hear me. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead, Mahesha.
Yes. Okay. I'll be talking on preparedness for pandemic in Sri Lanka. First of all, let me talk on the onset of COVID disease. The first case in Sri Lanka was detected in January 27, 2020. It's a foreigner from China. And the first Sri Lankan national tested positive for COVID in March 10th, 2020. After that, actually, we faced 3 waves. The first 2 waves were successfully negotiated due to several lockdowns and immediate action took by the government. But we are in the 3rd phase, which was started in mid-April after the Sinhala and Tamil New Year in Sri Lanka, which seems to be taking high tolls currently. Because of the current situation, the health authorities have identified that the country is in the alerts level 3. During the pandemic situation, out of the 22 million population in the country, 112 got infected up to now. This is the summary as on 3rd of May. Unfortunately, there were about 696 deaths from the beginning, and we have started the vaccination process, but we are not that successful because we had to depend on other countries for the vaccine. If you see the number of cases increase from the initial stage from March 2020 to end of April, this shows how the number of cases increase daily. The major challenge we face, as you all know, we are an island nation, but our economy is highly dependent on tourism as well as the Sri Lankan workers working abroad. So closing down the airports and lockdown to curb the spread of disease in first 2 waves has shown detrimental effects on country's economy as well as the livelihood of the people in the country. The immediate actions that we took at the onset of COVID conditions after the WHO declared the pandemic situation in world, the government established a presidential task force to combat COVID in Sri Lanka to ensure that the civilian lives move on without any hindrance. This consists of members from all sectors, which had a membership of 40, consisting of provincial governors, several secretaries of ministries, commanders of triforces. Actually, triforces played a major role during this period. Still, they are playing a major role with the health sector, and security chiefs, chairmen, and chairmen of several departments, corporations, and authorities, district and divisional secretariats. As one of the immediate steps, the government imposed a strict island-wide lockdown on 16th with the onset of the COVID pandemic in Sri Lanka, 16th March 2020, to curb the movement for about 3 months. And they shut down the national airport to curb the inflow of infected people in. And also, the government strengthened the National Emergency Operation Unit and its island-wide network. We were very strong with the contact tracing network throughout the island. From the inception and onset of disease, there was a contact tracing network spread throughout the island with the involvement of public health inspectors, PHIs, and the Sri Lankan army. Preparedness. Actually, with the announcement from WHO, Sri Lanka established COVID guidelines for prevention, preparedness, as well as operational and quarantine guidelines. Also, we conducted the government as well as other private sectors conduct awareness raising campaigns using all the media for all levels of the society, covering all the levels of society on risk and prevention measures. And also we were ready with establishment of quarantine centers in isolated areas of Sri Lanka. These were established by the Tri-Forces of Sri Lanka. They are operated by the forces and under the guidance of the government, and strengthen the ICU facilities in all base hospitals or in all 24 districts of Sri Lanka. Not only that, the government strengthened the Medical Research Institute, which is responsible to do research, medical research, and also initially they did all PCR diagnosis. So our required facilities and manpower was strengthened with required facilities and manpower. And in addition to the Medical Research Institute, selected laboratories at national state universities, the research institutes, and hospitals were upgraded to conduct PCR testing. Mainly the research focus was on genomic studies to study the variants and how they move into the country, and also how the disease spread and all that. And with the first two waves, and as well as with the third wave, the work from home concept was immediately introduced, though we had problems with the equipment for this online working, but most of the officers, government and private officers, moved to work from home concept to curb the movement of office workers. Also dedicated some existing hospitals exclusive for COVID patients to prevent contact with other patients, and also set up few more makeshift hospitals. During this period, since especially during first and second waves, we were working, most of us were working from home and the children were at home. So the government encouraged a lot of new innovations. We were like, because we had some free time, less traveling. So we have some leisure time to think. And so the government encouraged new innovations, and also to develop our PCR kits inside the country without depending, because the airports were closed. So we have to make our things. So new innovations were encouraged, and not only that, we will move into a home gardening systems. Even in urban areas, we were encouraged to do home gardening to be self-sufficient. And with the opening of the national airports, the quarantine centers run by the government was not enough. So we had to convert some luxury hotels and other places as quarantine centers for people who are coming from overseas, especially those who are coming from the Sri Lankan workers coming from the foreign countries. And since we went for a lockdown system with the first wave, the government established a home delivery system for essential goods. The essential things were delivered to our doorsteps, especially the medicines, and introduced a relief fund called COVID-19 Healthcare and Social Security Fund. And all the learning systems were moved into e-learn platforms. This was a bit difficult because the children did not have resources, but with mobile phones and all those things, we moved into an e-learning platform, starting from nursery level to the postgraduate level, secondary, primary, all the students had to move for a e-learning platform, and also the exams were conducted through a e-platform. Finally, I would like to mention the government wanted to change the mindset of the nation, especially the younger children, to think on an innovative way and more creative way how we could rebuild and combat these diseases. So they introduced the concept Rebuild Sri Lanka, and they encourage children and the younger generation to think and give creative work on how we could rebuild Sri Lanka. At last, I would like to share my drawing of my daughter, who is 10 years old, how she saw that we could rebuild Sri Lanka. With that, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahesha. It was nice hearing you. As Professor Shinwari is in a meeting, let me take the opportunity to introduce the next speaker.